What's going on, world? How are you? It is Dave from musicfeltbyme.com, and of course you can follow me at musicfeltbyme on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. Also, you can check out patreon.com/musicfeltbyme if you want to help support the channel and the site. And of course you can subscribe to me right here on YouTube. Let's get right into this. Feral the Earthworm. He was the third episode of Shuffle Setlist, and he actually coincidentally came out with a new song that I'm interested to check out. It's titled Floyd. And on his tweet, he basically said he wanted to spark some conversation, some dialogue about the topic of the song. I would assume, with as hyper-conscious as he is and how socially aware he seems to be, with a track titled Floyd, that this is in context of George Floyd, the passing of George Floyd, or the murder of George Floyd. And I'm interested to see where this goes. Let's check it out.
I wanted to say something, typed it out, but couldn't bring myself to post because what am I about? The words have no actions. This is massive. What's with the blind allegiance? Maliciousness from badges should be adequately punished. This is why Kaepernick took a knee. Police brutality.
Yeah, so I spoke about this a little bit, where sometimes it's a little uncomfortable for white people to try and speak because they don't want it to be interpreted as they're trying to speak for or speak on behalf of a community or an issue that they really don't experience the same way, right? So it may seem disingenuous when you're commenting on it. Here he's saying, what am I even really about? I'm just words with no action. So here's a, tweeting Black Lives Matter, that's great, and that's a start, but it's not enough. And yeah, there's like a bizarre pressure when you start doing these things, start getting involved, and without really trying to overstep your boundaries or trying to allow people to assume that you're only trying to get involved because it's a Twitter trend or it's something that you want to be a part of until it's time to be a part of it. So that's true.
People casually act like we don't have a problem, or you hate the military. It's because you call it out when the state kills a civilian. Very suspicious. Have you considered the premise of the nation's anthem? It's dissent against the British. Rebellion is the cornerstone that this nation was founded on. But when it's done by people black and brown, it gets frowned upon. Hypocrisy. We've exhausted.
That's true. I had said that same thing in a conversation I had, where it's not that I'm pro-violence, it's not that I'm pro-looting, it's not that I'm pro-domestic terrorism. It's just that it's viewed as such when it's not in line with your cause or with your agenda. What's the difference between terrorism and war? One of them, you're at war. You acknowledge, or you told people that you're at war. Terrorism is when someone's at war with you and you haven't engaged in war yet. Man, that's good.
Philosophy. If people are at odds with cops, it's in hopes that laws will be more representative of the citizens as a whole. Who are the Minutemen? Is this different? Who has control? What's COINTELPRO? Where is Fred Hampton? Was the CIA connected to the 1980s cocaine expansion? If you know the answers, don't be quiet. Understand, the last thing I hope to see is a riot, but I'm at a loss for words, and if you've ever read the second, you'll know it's to protect from threats foreign or domestic. Police have a hard fucking job.
I like how he did that. He says, if you really read the second, it's to protect against threats, both foreign and domestic. Police have a really hard job. So segued where police is the bridge between the two. There's a wild seagull situation going on behind me in a very busy parking lot. Odd behavior by them. But yeah, he kind of it's almost like you could interpret that he finished his sentence with police, or he ended it with foreign and domestic. Police have a really hard job, and police started his next sentence. I like how he did that. That was a cool bridge between two lines where police could mean, or police perfectly fit within both sentences.
They selflessly place themselves in harm's way to stop violent crimes. Their sacrifice is noble. If you add the good and bad, I wouldn't be surprised if the total was more towards what's right. They want to serve their community, but a badge doesn't deserve impunity. Murder should be treated as such. If you violate the code, then you go to jail. This is why you take an oath. Fuck, you're supposed to be a superhero. Better than good. If you don't do this, then you lose the Bureau's blessing. Derek Shaw.
God damn it. Yeah, this is good. This is really good and really accurate. And I like the way he's doing it, where, like I said, sometimes it can be tough to speak out. if you feel like you might not necessarily be, your opinion might not be respected or feel like it's validated. But this is just a really nice, from the outside looking in perspective. I like it a lot.
He's not a cop, but a criminal. Who deserves a murder sentence? Minimal. He betrayed the public's trust. What happened was wrong. Frankly, fuck the fact I even have to rap this song. Plus, isn't a tenet of conservatism, limited government to unconditionally serve the system is ironic? Jesus was killed by the state. His crucifixion was legal. It's time to take fate into our hands and mold a more inclusive union. So I don't know. Maybe what you could do in conclusion is listen. What do you believe? How'd you feel when George Floyd said he couldn't breathe? It's destruction of property versus destruction of people. If you're more bothered by the loss of a target, then you are evil. We disagree. I don't think you have to think it's right to see this pain's origin, the ethics of their fire is not the question. The effect of what transpired is not the cause. And that's what we should focus on. That's why I wrote this song. Think bigger than the symptom. What's the original illness that exists within the system?
Yeah, right.
Whether you're liberal or conservative, I think that we can all agree what happened to George Floyd was wrong.
This shit is fucking really well executed. It's really well executed. Much respect to Pharrell the Earthworm for pulling this off the way that he did, by voicing compassionately and empathetically and his frustration with the system, and also while stating that, you know, not all cops are bad cops, and probably more than likely the majority of cops are not racially motivated. But what happens when those racially motivated or racist or bad cops do something wrong? It needs equal justice to what would happen as if a civilian did it, because they're supposed to be above their moral compass. Their behavior is supposed to be above those of the citizens.
So,
Really good.
Police brutality is a fucking problem. Why is that so hard to agree upon? Don't we all agree on that? I don't know, man. Whenever Trump came out and he gave his speech, he didn't offer legislation against police brutality. He just passed an executive order that has something to do with Twitter, because whatever, that personally affects him. But I guess this doesn't. There's so many people all across the country who have been peacefully protesting. All 50 states. And I'm just like, these people have a legitimate concern, and it's police brutality. And I feel like all people agree that what happened to George Floyd is fucking wrong. So I don't know, man. I would just like to see real action taken to prevent shit like that from happening in the future.
Straight up, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. That makes my playlist, and that gets a 9.4. I like that song a lot. The message is great. The execution of it was even better. From a writing standpoint, it's really well rhymed, and I like how he used like internal rhymes to segue to his next one. Like, it was just really, that's a sharp fucking song. As unorthodox as his approach is to hip-hop, what he says is fucking dope. I like Pharrell the Earthworm. That's great, man. I dig it. Pharrell the Earthworm, shout out. Really great job. That's a great song. That's a great song, and more people need to hear it. It only has like, it's got like 4,000 plays on YouTube, and it's like fucking, it's almost as well said from the outside looking in as I think can be articulated. That's a really great job. That's gonna do it for me, everybody. Don't forget, if you like this video, hit that like button. If any Pharrell the Earthworm video gets 100 likes, I'll start reacting to Pharrell the Earthworm's library. Like, I'll go through his catalog and just go through it. I'll make a Pharrell the Earthworm playlist. So if you get this to 100 likes, you can expect more Pharrell the Earthworm. If you don't get to 100 likes, at some point, expect more Pharrell the Earthworm. That's gonna do it for me. Everybody, stay safe.